Good evening and welcome to On Point's Opinions. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
I'm Juan Holcomb.
And we are On Point Opinions. This is the show where Wall Street meets Main Street. We all about knowledge is power. We discussing some of the hottest topics, the most controversial topics in America and around the world. Me and Juan Holcomb are going to try to address some of these issues and get rid of some of that fake news that's out there. And we just want to deal with some of the facts, you all.
That's right. It's that time now, and if we don't get through and cut through all the muck and mire, we're going to leave a lot of people behind. So that's why we ask you all to tune in to get straight news, straight facts, and straight opinions from us. So glad to be back. Glad to have you here, Bob, and I'm looking forward to a very enlightening show tonight.
We're here the first Sunday of every month. The first Sunday of every month, we're here. And just want to give a disclaimer. This is just our opinions. Now, a lot of facts are within these opinions that we were given. We're not going to just mislead you like that. But we just want to make sure this is just our opinions on things that we feel. So don't feel we do not intend to offend anyone. If we do, we giving apologies right here and now, because that's not our objective. Our objective is to provide and give clarity to some of the just misinformation that's out there. There's just so much misinformation. And then there is a lack of information. And that's what we try to do on this show. On Point Opinions. So with that, please click on the like button to give us more attraction and more exposure to more people. That's how Facebook works. And also go out there and subscribe on YouTube and share this with other people. Now, one of the main things we want you to do, that comment box, we want you to put comments in there because it's not just about our opinions. We want to hear your opinions. You know, we are open. It's just not about, you know, what we're trying to say. And we want to have, this is not a debate. Okay, we don't debate on this show. We don't argue on this show. We have discussions because just hearing other points of view is really what it's about. And what we found out, one of the biggest solutions to a lot of the problems in this world is really just having a conversation. That's really what we're trying to do. So with that, we're going to get into our show this week. And Juan, the first topic. Does it matter? And this is what I'm talking about. Does it matter? Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, has a lot of things on his plate. Republicans are, saying he's no good. He's not doing anything. He's messing up the economy. They're trying to peg inflation on him. But we're going to go over some of the topics and issues that are out there. And we want to know from you all, does it matter? Because we're coming up to the midterm elections.
Yes, we are.
A lot of people forget about Juan, which is so important. And then we're talking about coming then to the general election.
Right.
And what does it matter? What is going to be the turnkey issues? What are going to be the wedge issues that are going to determine the outcome?
Well, Bob, we wanted to lead in with this because for anybody in just normal times, you would think, well, this has been a great time for Joe Biden administration. He just announced, Bob, that he's going to cancel, I think, 5.8 billion, correct if I'm wrong, but in student loan debt. And that, obviously that should excite a bunch of people, but we'll come back to that. The annual, the monthly jobs report just came out for the month of May, and they added almost 400,000 jobs for the month of May, 390,000. Unemployment is down to steady at low at 3.6%. These are somewhat historic lows. The stock market closed up 400 or 500 points, something I think 33,000%
for the year.
For the year. So in any other times, this would be a quite a win for Biden. But there's things in there that are blocking it.
Like they're trying to pin inflation on them.
Well, inflation, gas prices are going through the roof. They're still going up, and inflation is soaring, and I think it's gouging a lot of it. But that is a part of the risk. If people will pay for it, they'll get it. Gas prices they're going to keep going up, and of course, there's by the way, a war still going on. But
what about all the things sitting on the docks? Where they can't get the goods and stuff.
Right. Supply chain
issues
still there. And I forgot, Bob, I forgot to add the baby formula crisis.
Oh wow!
That is.
Don't forget immigration.
Immigration, yes. But so
don't forget about the Build Back Better plan that has been passed.
Well, it's a mixed bag, truly mixed bag. But back up to the top, Bob, and you and I got into a discussion about it. Let's start up with the top, the cancellation of the student loan debt. I know on my sister and I and some other friends, we've got into big discussions like, why doesn't Biden cut student loan debt? That would bring out the young people voting, and that would do it. And then, but you pointed out to me quite sternly that, hey, not everybody wants him to cut student loan debt. Not everybody maybe deserves to cut that student loan debt. And
well, this is my issue with that, Juan, right quick. Okay, because I was at one time was all about cutting student loan debt. But when I thought about it and found out that the $1.7 trillion right now that is out there, student loan debt, half of it, they say, is graduate school. So I don't believe I should be using my tax dollars to be paying for somebody who decided that they want to go to graduate school for the study of water filtration, turbo, hydro, kinetic findings and stuff, and they ain't doing a damn thing with it. And I should pay for it? How about me, Juan? Because I pay for my daughter's education at UNC Chapel Hill, which is very expensive. Is somebody give me a relief? Does anybody give me a tax relief? And don't get me wrong, Juan, there were several educational loan companies that really got people into a lot of these high interest loans, especially private loans, right? And some of them were duped. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to play that down. But Juan, should I be paying for somebody who decided to go to college and take a major in not that much of a marketable information? Oh man, Milana, my good friend Pelco, she said my undergrad went from 25,000 to 50,000 in her comment. Yes. And this is the thing, Juan. So I don't know if everybody should be relieved, but I think the issue is the interest, Juan. The interest is what is really killing people. I think if he forgave the interest and they provided interest-free loans, that would help. But I'm struggling with having people's all of their loans forgive, like $1.7 trillion.
Well, Bob, and I think that captures where we are to a degree in America. But I just want people to wrap their heads around that too, because I think that can go over some people's heads. So I'm glad somebody wrote in about that, Bob. But 1.7 trillion, that is a staggering amount of money. But just to the point you were making, and the point your friend said, the cost of college in this country has skyrocketed in the past 50 years. increasing 340% for public schools. The wages of American workers have not kept pace. How can the U.S. continue to compete with other developed countries who subsidize their students' education when many American students can't even afford a community college? And we well know that other developing nations, as we like to call ourselves, preemptive think they pay for their education as well as their subsidized education as well as their health care. And if the cost, just like the cost of living goes up increasingly, the staggering cost, university. We're very fortunate, Bob. When we went to school, we were both athletes, played ball, we got scholarships. But I know, for instance, my sister's education at Ivy League schools was staggering even back then. And so my father had to pay it. But I guess, Bob, I think it hinders our young people. But I understand some of the arguments, but I think it hinders folks coming out of school and starting their work on the American dream, being able to buy a home, being able to start a family, if you will.
But Juan, so, and I know this is sensitive, and I'm not insensitive, Juan. But look, Juan, does it matter to
yes,
me?
He is America. Yes, he is. No.
Does it matter to me if a person sent their kid to, let's just pick a school, Purdue, and paid this astronomical loan amount for the kid to go there, when that kid could have went to Prince George's Community College because they never made their mind up. They started off, they changed their mind 3 or 4 times, and then they just dropped out of school totally. Should I be funding? I do have compassion for the debt they have, Juan, but they could have made decisions. That kid could have went to a school with a lower expense. But now you're telling me because they were what they call uberous and wanting their kid to go to their alma mater, which their kid really had no interest in going to school. It was their parents. Now you telling me I should pay their loans off with my taxpayer dollars? That's what I struggle with, Juan.
Right.
I'm half and half about that.
Right. Well, I would just say this. We live in a nation that stretches education, that pushes higher education, and that you do it. Now, there may be a question now whether or not 4-year college education still is as crucial as what it was always taught to us. I know in my household they stressed education, and the minimum was going to be 4-year college. But I think it's beyond the means of a lot of folks. But yet we want them to go to school, and even community colleges. They cost. Everything costs.
But it don't cost nowhere close to no daggone predominantly white
some major university. But and I don't have the statistics here, but all schools went up quite significantly over the years. Private, public.
I have statistics.
And community
college, you can get between $4,000 and $5,000.
But
and they're feeder schools into major colleges.
Right.
Yeah, and how about this? All colleges ain't for everybody.
That's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. They put all this money in, and they kids with never even college material.
Right. But even if they work and try to pay their way through school, I think I saw somewhere where like Elizabeth Warren worked her way through school, but that wouldn't pay for a college education. A lot of people nowadays.
Statistics are college education costs every year it goes up. Statistics show 9%. It has increased each year by 9%. So that's a lot. But Juan, let's switch off of the should he be paying the student loans? Let's talk about the other issues that may be affecting this election coming up. I mean, is it falsely being accused for the way he's running things. I mean, they still faulted him for the way they got out of Afghanistan and the way they are putting all these things out there while blaming them for inflation, blaming them for the gas prices. Does it matter going into these midterm elections? Because, you know, the Republicans, they always make these statements like they're fact. Oh, we're going to take the House back over.
But I think sometimes I'm ambivalent. Sometimes I think that.
Excuse me, that's a big word for me. What are you, ambivalent? You're a biblical core. What the hell are you talking about? But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Ambivalent about that. But I do think, Bob, that it has to be highlighted that jobs, just because the narrative, you have to put the facts out there. Jobs are being created, low unemployment. It might be higher for different demographics, but low unemployment.
GDP has been really good. Gross domestic product.
I even read, there was an article in the New Yorker, I read about that there's positive signs on inflation.
Well, I don't know where you saw that. Inflation is the highest it's been in 40, almost 70 years.
But I'm talking about turning that around. But as I say, I think companies are gouging, they without a doubt. And for folks who don't know what gouging is, it's when they run up the cost of goods because they can, right? I mean, give the best definition, but that's why they used to
look at the supply chain. Some of the stuff they're not able to get the goods. Look at cars. The reason why the price of cars going up because of the smart chip in the cars. China having a supply chain. Actually, China having production slow down because the COVID was rising so much they had to shut down some of the factories. So some of it is, like you say, not real, but some of it is real. I mean, if you're producing less products and there's a demand for the product,
and the demand is high.
That's what they call,
But Bob, I'll use your same theory that you talked about on the educational side. Everybody's complaining about gas prices, and oh my God, how they're going, and everybody's driving. Further, they are filling up their tanks and they're going, and they're buying bigger vehicles now. Electric cars are coming, and that's going to be that is the wave of the future. But let's be for real. That one part of the thing, and the companies are saying it. They say, hey, they're paying for it.
Well, let me give you another.
For the gas.
Let me give you another.
The demand is high for it, and so don't do it. If you stop, they will lower the cost. But the demand is because people do it. And it's just like what you say with education. Okay, not everybody should go to Duke or UVA or Harvard, but then, go to like you said, the community. People, I haven't seen anybody stop driving. I'm down there, man, they pulling in stations. They are pumping that gas, man. How about stop driving? How about,
last month, my daughter spent $300 on gas, and she's just going back and forth to stuff. Right. She can start a job, where she's always going to a job two times a week.
Right.
$300. But Juan, let me give you the economy. Let me give you the economy.
Okay.
About people and their decisions, because that's what you're getting at. Juan, here's another dichotomy. People complain about Fox television and the fake news and the Carlsons and that other lady, I don't forget her name. You know what I'm talking about, the other right-wing lady. But yet, they go and turn on Empire, watch American Idol, which funds Tucker Carlson and that other lady. But yet they complain about these mothers. But then they go and turn on and watch Empire, which is on Fox, which funds those crazy fake news and fake stuff they'll be doing. So I know this was, I switched and went way over here.
No, but Tucker Carlson got the #1 rated show. In a cable show, excuse me, in America, news show, Tucker Carlson. So.
Right. But what about the people who complain about him, but they go and watch these other shows that's funding his show to make
Right.
him number one.
Right.
So, like you're saying, how people are making a decision, and this is how I'm tying together. You know, they talk about gas, but we're not going to get out of the car. We're not going to stop traveling. How about this one, Juan? The number one sold car for the last few years in America is a Ford 150, F-150.
Oh, that's been for years and years.
Juan, that must gets 13 miles a gallon.
Right, right.
If they keep buying cars like that, 13 miles a gallon, of course the price is going to stay up because they keep driving that stuff.
But they've already sold out for the electric 450, Bob. That's they are waiting for that.
But are they going to make the transition? Billy Bob out there in Montana, is he going to go to the electric car? You know,
eventually.
So Juan, so what do you think, Juan? Look, and we want to ask you all out there who's watching. Does it matter? What matters to you? What do you think is going to be the wedge issue that's going to be the determining factor of how this Congress and Senate, state legislators, Juan, let's don't forget how they, the state legislators are trying to turn around and take control of stuff, and they putting people in there, and they putting these ever-Trumpers in there. They putting in these people who are totally against democracy, So help us out. Put some comments out there, y'all. I can see the comments from YouTube and from Facebook. Put them out there.
Well, Bob, that kind of leads us into the other areas, and is America permanently divided, Bob? Are we? You talked about Fox. A lot of us watch. I watch MSNBC, CNN. I watch some shows, and then there's a lot of people who don't watch any of the cable stations. So I wonder sometime, where are they getting their information from? Is it their local news station? Is it things? So I see this divide.
But does it matter? Hold on.
Well,
does it matter?
That's the question.
Does it matter we're getting information? Does it matter if they turn it off the TV and don't want the information? How about that? Because some people are just burnt out and don't want to hear that crap no more because it's a bunch of crap. What is going to matter in this election, Mark?
Isn't that the point? Well, my concern is, Bob, and you and I talked about it, is that I do think we are in a crisis. And I do believe people are burned out. I do believe people are tuned out. I do believe people want to move on. But I think we're at too critical a moment as that. And you asked me a question, Bob, quite handily. And I think that's what's so interesting. When we started the show, we talked a little bit about that. But you asked the question of me, is America already in a modern day civil war? Are we headed to a civil war? And I thought that was I hate to say this, an important question, an appropriate question. And we've had quite a month. And because we debated a little bit, and when I say debate, folks, I'm talking about Bob and myself, and we have such a eclectic group of friends, associates, and we've kind of almost gone to being our own pollsters, and that really tells us a lot about how people get information, what people are thinking. And I asked Bob, I said, Bob, we need to talk about, what about these mass shootings? And Bob said to me, you said to me, hey, people are burned out. And I said, wow. And I can understand that, but is this the time? I mean, they're shooting in schools. Like, it's not teenagers shooting people. The last two have been 18-year-olds. Have been 18-year-olds. And I think that goes back to the Civil War question, Bob. And you asked, are we already in a civil war? Not that we headed to it. And I do think that we are in, quote unquote, the modern day civil war.
And let me explain why I say that one because the gun is one part of it. There's no question. Before we get to that though, but there's they're going into state legislators and they're trying to put their people in so that when the election comes, they can say there were false electorates and the state legislators will be able to go in and take over. That's just like the whole Confederate issue that we back in the day, why they were fighting states versus the federal government. And that's why the federal government came in to make things and oversee things and make them equal and for everybody. But now it seems like they're trying to go back to states' rights. That's what the whole critical race theory, critical race theory, the cancel culture. All of this is like going against
abortion,
anti-disestablishment. All of this is going against government. All this is going against democracy.
Right.
Here, the democracy is under attack. That's to me what the whole civil rights war was all about. The Confederates. They wanted to look. That's what do you think like cryptocurrency is going back to you creating and holding your own currency. That's what the Confederates, they were creating their own currency. They didn't want to go on the government system. Now we talk about the guns thing, because how did they do all of that stuff? First of all, they were totally against the majority.
Right.
Like now, they say 80% of people said there'd be some kind of gun safety, not gun control. The word is better used, gun safety. But yet they like bucking that. That's the same thing with the Confederates were trying to do back then, saying, no, it's our way or the highway. So, and then how did they go to implement it? They started with guns and wars and shooting and all of these. We just had another one today in is it Tennessee and Chattanooga?
Yes.
Last night in Philadelphia, and another shooting just came up again, Juan, since I talked to you about the Tennessee one.
Right.
It's like a civil war. People are going in and taking it. This is the same thing they did. This is nothing new. You know, they fight because they don't want certain people. They want to be in control and control over certain people. It's a modern day civil war. We in it, Juan.
Yeah. Well, and that goes back to what you just asked. Does it matter? And yes, it matters, because this will keep on. So it matters. And that's why it matters, Bob. That's why it matters. When AR-15s, AK-47s are the de jure guns of times, and let me be frank, I've had discussions with Bob and many of my friends in terms of about firearms, and I'm not one. I've never owned a gun, never had it, but I think they would, especially GOP, they really, the whole Second Amendment, that sentence, the right to bear arms, they've overtaken it. But these guns of mass destruction, I just don't see where they have a place. You know, they once banned assault weapons and didn't allow weapons to be taken outside. But that was when the Black Panthers had their guns and they were openly displaying their guns. And I heard they played Ronald Reagan saying when he signed into law, said, there's no place for somebody to be walking around with a gun. And I thought, how frank is that? Democrats ought to play that right on through the election, because when the Black Panthers were openly carrying their shotguns and their guns, they got rid of assault bans. They said no carrying of weapons. So that might be one way to get it.
Well, Juan, let's make sure we got the issue right. See, the issue is not about AR-15s and they want to be able to have the right, to have an AR-15. The issue is they think if you start banning AR-15s, then it's a slippery slope, and next they're going to go to the next particular weapon.
They've always used that argument.
That's really the issue. But this is the problem, Juan. This is the issue. This is the issue. There's different people, and this is where especially Democrats and just people who are wanting more gun safety. The conversation, Juan, you can't have the same conversation with a hillbilly guy in Montana talking about You don't need no AR-15. Why do you need it? No, that's not the conversation you need to have with him. Just like if you're somewhere here in metropolitan DC, you have a different conversation about why there should be guns. The problem is they try to make this one statement, and each one, people who have guns have different issues. Like some people are thinking that if if they go after the guns, that they're going to be start attacking the Second Amendment. That is so false. The Second Amendment
right,
is here
right.
to stay. And for those mugs out there in the Midwest who's worried about that, thinking they're going to change the Second Amendment, we're going to get it. It's false. So that's the conversation you need to have with them to put them ashore. No, nobody's going to take all your guns.
Right. Of course
Nobody's
not.
gonna take it. And then
Of
you have
course not.
other people,
Of course
you
not.
know, who are talking about mental issues is more important to them. Like Abbott in Texas, he talks about it's all about mental issues, and he cuts the funding
He cut the
for mental
budget.
issues. So
Billions.
so the conversations you have with those people, you ain't gonna be talking about the Second Amendment rights with them. You need to be talking about, hey, dude, it's about mental. All countries have mental issues. Then you got people who are talking about there's over 400 million guns, Juan. There's only 335 million people. It's more guns. And we need to talk about gun
I
rights.
heard from a retired AFT that there are over 1 billion guns in circulation for 300 million people. Over 1 billion retired AFT.
Well, just
there
recently,
was
I don't know
over
where
1 billion guns in circulation.
I don't know if it's in America, if he's talking about America, because it's 400 million guns circulating in America right now. That's the last statistic I saw.
Right. Well, that's why I said it. I wasn't until just the other day or last week after a mass shooting.
Well, and how do you
billion guns in circulation?
Anyway, Juan. So you're probably right. But Juan, so that's.
But that just shows you we're the most. I think they saw somebody was interviewing Ted Cruz, and he said we're the safest, greatest place on the earth. I said. He lost his mind.
But that's the thing, Juan, is that all those lies they're telling. Because my friends are really nervous about the GOP, because how they've turned the Supreme Court, how they turned the
they should be
judges.
nervous.
Yeah, they should be. That's why we got to get out. And why I think shows like this is important, because we're trying to clarify some of these issues, man. And I don't know how it's going to happen, Juan, but I'm a strong believer, Juan. I just an optimist that all of this stuff that they're trying with voter suppression, my point of reference is this is nothing new. They've been trying this all along. They tried it last election. It's not like they didn't try this stuff. Try to say it's fake election, but they didn't win, did they?
Well, but that's what I heard, Bob, just to actually support what you're saying. I was listening to an expert on fascist behavior and fascist talk about that is, most people think, oh, they tried a coup and it failed, so that's it. No, they say most coups, that's what they do. They plan for the next time. And basically, what they're saying is a slow moving coup going on right now. And something else you said, Bob, they are planting fake electors. There's going to be poll workers. They want hundreds of poll workers to be. They're planning for not poll workers. I'm sorry, poll watchers. So I can't imagine a person standing over my shoulder. I wish somebody would, but
I don't care. I don't care if they look over my shoulder. As long as they can't stop me from voting, I don't care. If that's
right. But they are
that's their little Billy Wig.
But
take it and shove it.
Right. But they are there to intimidate, and they do intimidate people, and they will be in minority communities. Believe me, they're not going to do this in upscale, affluent.
Bethesda. Let's just say Bethesda.
Or affluent for people that are out
Orange County
that are Democrat. They wouldn't do it to white affluent areas that are Democrat. They will be in Detroit, in the city, Philly. They will be trying to intimidate workers. And I agree with you. We can overcome that. We can overcome that with numbers. But rest
Martin.
assured.
Tell them the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream, Martin.
Yes.
Tell them about the dream.
You better come on out to vote.
Tell them about the dream, Juan.
Yes. We're coming. We're
Okay.
coming.
So Juan, so help me with this. Help me with this, Juan. We do know that this is like sort of like a civil war.
Mm.
How did the Civil War end? Good question.
Mm.
How did the
Did it
Civil
end?
War end?
Well,
I know one thing: the black people helped because they started letting the
everywhere
on the
every war, right?
You know, that's one thing. But what else? How else did the Civil War end?
A lot of casualties.
Yeah, but the Union won, right? That was for all the people.
Right.
The powers, the people who were for all people, not the people who were just for the Confederates. You know,
right.
They ended up, and that's what my hope is, Juan. That it's more of us than them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bob, you are an eternal optimist, and one thing that you always say, Biden got 80 million votes, and the one thing I think Democrats do when Republicans win elections, they act like it and they play like it. When Democrats win elections, Republicans still act like they won.
Right.
They still.
But that's how they look at the Confederates. They still act like they won. It's the same thing, Juan.
It's the same thing.
This is the old playbook. That's what I'm saying. This stuff don't work, man. It didn't work then, and it's not going to work again. And that's why they talking about make America great again. Bring back. No, stop it. It's over. The genie's out the bottle.
The genie's out the bottle, Bob. Well,
the genie's out the bottle.
I think that this should get every person up and out, because I think that we're so used to our way of life, how things are going, but they are people very serious. You know, it's like people already forgotten January 6th. They're ready to do this again. I think people are comfortable, and you can't be too comfortable. Not when 18-year-olds are walking in and mowing down people, man. Who needs magazines of 30?
Man, they've already forgot Columbine. They already forgot Sandy Hook. They already forgot.
Right. And that is the frightening thing, Bob, that we're that just immune to that carnage. And Bob, quickly, because I know we have to move on. But what do you think of this? And this was brought up, and I think Johnson, one of Obama's former, he was head of Homeland Security. He was a straight-laced, very conservative young gentleman. Talked about the fact that he wrote an op-ed about they should potentially consider opening the caskets, letting people see the carnage, for instance, from Uvalde, with those AR-15s, like Emmett Till's mother did, shot the consciousness of people.
Emmett Till was 50 years ago. Stop it, please. These people don't care. It ain't about looking at carnage. They'll turn the TV off. That's not going to work, Juan. Because once it's going to turn the TV off, they're not going to watch it. They're going to ignore that too, Juan. And the issue is much more deep rooted than them just seeing. They know about what's going on, Juan.
But do people really know what the body looks like? What it looks like?
But Juan,
identify children with the DNA. The parents have to take a swab.
Juan, this is what I talked about when the lady came out with the movie. What was it called? Selma. It was so much visual depiction of just blowing up people, shooting people, slapping black people all through the movie. And my friend said, man, you didn't take your daughter, 10-year-old, 11-year-old Melody. I said, why do I need to traumatize my daughter with that kind of stuff? Away from why it happened, but that's traumatized. Why do I need to traumatize my kids to see that when they still can learn about what has happened? The fact we need to have more conversations. Well, it's not about showing pictures of some people slaughtered like
books are being banned.
Huh?
Books are being banned.
Yes.
You can't teach something in class.
Yeah, but no, I'm going back to your issue of being able to show the carnage. I'm dealing with that first. That ain't going to make a difference. Well, we need to sit down and have, like I told you, what this show is about, a conversation about what is going on. I don't need to traumatize my kid with seeing somebody's brains blown out their head to get them to understand what they're doing, how they're taking people's rights, how you have rights, how you as a human being, you deserve to have fair and equal opportunities. No, it's this people, the powers that be, need to have those conversations. They sit in their white towers, they sit up there high and mighty, and they do what they do, and they think nothing of it. They think that's the way it is. It's been that way for years. We have privilege. We need to be educating people. And I don't, so anyway, that's
well, let's ask our public, and that's the way Bob and I roll. You all comment. If you go back on, listen, email us, send us in. What do you all think? What do you all think about the visual part of it? What do you think about where we are right now? So that's
what
we're
is the
getting at, you
solution?
all.
What is the solution? That's what we're talking. What is the solution?
Right.
You know,
because it is going to get worse before it gets better. All right. So Bob, we think we're in a civil war. Where are we going? We hit the mass shooting. So what's next, Bob? What's on the plate? Because we'll lighten it up.
One of our main, it ain't lighten it up. It's going to be still heated. It ain't no lighten it up. All this stuff.
No, it's lighten up. But you're right. But I did go with the carnage piece. Okay.
Yeah, you did show that. I'm like, I don't want to see. I don't need to see that. To see what these trifling, ignorant people are doing. I don't need to see that. I know they're trifling and ignorant by the stuff they be saying.
But it's real.
But let's go to sports, which is one of our, stalwarts.
Right.
We both played professional basketball. We played basketball in college and in high school. Sports, Juan. Let's talk about one of the top sports issues, Colin Kaepernick. And this is interesting that we transition into, Colin, who was, trying to make a stand for all this craziness that we just talked about.
It's all tied in.
That was his solution. That was his solution. Now he had a tryout with the Oakland Raiders, and the new Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me.
All right.
Las Vegas Raiders. And he may get picked up. And how do you feel about that? Do you think he's going to still kneel at the national anthem if he gets signed? Do you think now remember he settled, he signed. Remember he couldn't talk about it because he signed.
His lawsuit. Mm-hmm.
So what's your take of him coming back, and what is the impact you think that will have on the NFL and America?
Well, first of all, just like everything we talked about this tonight, doesn't matter. No. Does anybody remember Colin? No, but I'm very proud of what Colin Kaepernick. I think he did a good service. Athletes have long been a part of the national discussion and activism. But first of all, Bob, I'm like, was this a secret? If it wasn't, I was listening to not even a sports radio show and heard them mention about this tryout. And I'm telling you, man, it's got to be the most well-kept secret. I haven't personally, I turned past ESPN, and I haven't even seen any underneath the ticker tape. I was like, is it too little, too late? I'm wishing for him. He should be on the team. He's an excellent athlete and quarterback, equally as good as some of these guys out here. But
he hadn't played in 3
I don't
years.
think I think the kneeling days. I think all that's over with. But Bob, do you even know how he did?
Well, I understand where they're coming from, Juan. I understand why they did, because it's a double-edged sword. There's a bunch of people against him coming back.
Of course.
So they just
that's obvious, Captain Obvious.
But they're just doing the PR thing. I'm saying, but the reason why they just doing a PR thing, they're keeping it quiet so they don't have to deal with all that immediate backlash.
That makes sense.
But I'm just glad they're giving him a trial.
Yeah.
First of all,
have you heard about it, Bob? Bob, have you heard about it?
Yes, I definitely heard about it. I read about it. But once again, there's so much going on, Juan. Does it matter to certain people? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think if I wonder, will he be signed? I would like to see him on a team this fall. My NFL interest has really waned over the last a number of years. I feel the NFL is signed for not for long, but the NFL is truly, to me, the GOP and the NFL are one and the same. But hey, I'd like to see Colin Kaepernick. I think it's possible. I think he's certainly capable of a backup at the least. But
Is he? Is he? He hasn't played in 3 years, Juan. Is
right, but from everything and from warm-ups, even when he was trying out, everybody says that he looks good. But Bob, how did he do in this tryout?
I don't know. That's their
That's
privilege.
the other thing. It's quiet.
But that's their privilege. You know, they don't have to. That's their privilege.
No, true.
And I know they don't want to have a whole bunch of, because as soon as they sign him, it's going to be off.
You think he's going to get signed, Bob?
I think he's going to get signed, and they're trying to measure what you're talking about. I think they're trying to measure the effect of and that's why they're keeping it on the down low.
Well, I think if anybody can handle controversy, innovation, whatever, it's the Raiders. You know, as you said,
that's what they do, man. They give the less fortunate, the misfits. That's been their history. They give people a chance. So I'm just glad.
Yeah, but they also been bad. They also been good. And
yeah, but that's the nature. But I think
it'd be a great team to go to. Shoot, I'd like to see him playing for them.
Right.
You like to see him, Bob?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah, to give him a chance, especially how he was treated and what he was trying to do. You know, we still got the George Floyd bill not signed. We still got the, John Lewis, and that's all the kind of stuff that he was really trying to civilly protest against. So I would love it would be a great sign to show it up in your face. Every time you think it's backfired again. So Juan, let's transfer
OPO for Colin Kaepernick. Okay.
So let's go to our next subject. There's a big one hot spot. Brittany Griner being held in Russia because she allegedly was found vapor hash oil cartridges in her luggage. Now in Russia, that is a 10-year penalty, prison thing. So a lot of people, Americans, even George Biden administration, is saying that she's being held unfairly. A lot of people saying that President Joe Biden should do more. Matter of fact, her wife came on TV and said Joe Biden should go over there. He deserves to go over there and get her. A lot of people saying if this was an NBA player, it'll be more publicity and more concern.
Effort.
A lot of people are saying, the WNBA people and her wife is saying that if the WNBA was paying salaries comparable to what the NBA, she wouldn't have to go over there and play to make more money. But Juan, she's one of the highest paid, I guess about 250, 300,000.
Right, something like that.
I mean, I should be, and look, get this right. I want Brittany Griner to come back. I do not believe, I wish for the young lady. But Juan, if she did break the law, do we expect people to come over here in America from other countries and say, hey, your law ain't right. We want our person. No, you got to follow the law. And do you know how much she's getting paid, Juan, in Russia? Now, why would you go to Russia? We know how Russia is. We know that Russia's in a war with Ukraine, don't we?
Yes.
Do you know why she went there, Juan?
Well, yes, full disclaimer that Brittany Griner has been playing in Russia for a number of years. So it's not like her first time over, first time coming home, first time.
No matter. There's a war going on.
Russia has been in the pro arena for female basketball, and it's big over there, and a lot of money's behind it. And she makes about $1 million or so more in Russia. Absolutely. So she's not the first time, and I point that out because she's flown over there before and flown home.
But what does that have to do about anything? Because she's not the first time. What does that have to do about anything, Juan?
No, because I don't believe that having gone back and forth playing professional for Russia, that all of a sudden that she needs to, take Hashover this time heading home. But she was over
What?
before the war started, the season.
What?
Because I think it's a made up thing. They never bothered her before, but all of a sudden after
Juan,
the
whoa,
war
whoa.
starts, they stop. But wait a minute. Now you asked me.
Continue.
You asked me.
Continue.
So
Continue.
let me get it out. I think she was definitely good timing to hold her right as the war began, that Putin held Brittany Griner. I just think that she is a pawn caught up in that, in the system. And because you said she was going over, she has been playing basketball there. It's very popular. There were some other star athletes, other ladies.
They didn't get caught with.
In Russia.
They didn't get caught with Hashover, Juan.
But I'm saying, okay. But again, that is still alleged. And
you don't know if it's true or not.
I said she's becoming back and forth. But we're saying that I read that the WNBA and the NBA are both working on her behalf to get her returned home. I thought that was a good sign that the two of them working together to get her home. Obviously, Biden has more to do than just get Brittany Griner home, but they do make more money overseas, and many of the stars, basketball women, have played overseas.
But what does that have to do about
the money over here?
What does that have to do about her breaking the law, Juan? What does that have to do, whether she's been going back and forth, whether they make a lot of money over there, knowing Russia is a country that is run by Putin, one. Two, knowing Russia is a country that is hurting so bad that the black market is really what runs Russia, and you're going to go over there, and I'm supposed to feel bad because you're going to make $1 million and nobody's had no gun to your head. And let's say this, Juan, you don't know if
that's been the theme of our show.
But Juan, you don't know if she had hash or not.
Okay.
Nobody knows that. But the law, they didn't just make the law, Juan. The law was it's illegal to have hash oil in Russia. Right. So if she broke the law, you cannot just forego that. And there's other people being held. There's an executive that is being held for espionage because he was just going to one of his family members' weddings there. There's another guy, top ambassador, that was being held there. So there's a whole lot of other people other than Brittany Griner. And
I think that they are. I think they're trying to get them out. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been trying to get them out. This is nothing new. But I'm just saying, just because Brittany Griner is now caught, and they're being held for stuff like espionage. This is saying that she had this in her thing. Whether she did or not, I don't know. I want the girl to come back. Don't get me wrong. I really believe she deserves to come back. But if she broke the law, Juan, and then she was going over there to make money, to make $1 million, how much compassion should you have?
Well, I think she's a political prisoner. Bottom line.
She broke the law, Juan.
I think she's a political prisoner.
She broke the law.
Well, it's alleged, just like you said. You said that at the beginning of the show.
But you cannot disregard that.
I'm not saying it's disregarded, but
okay. Let me ask you this: hypothetically, if she did have that smoking the hash, and she's been known to smoke the hash, so that makes me even think that she definitely probably had the hash.
She can get hash here.
Hello.
She can get hash here when she come home.
Yeah, but no, my point is,
come on now, Bob. Come on now.
Juan.
She can get her some hash here.
Juan.
She don't need to bring it from Russia.
Juan. Let's be real here. I broke the law in England. I bought hash back myself. I didn't have
to.
Yes, I did. I didn't have to, like you said, I could have bought it here, but I tried to bring marijuana back from South America when I played. But that's against the law. That was against the law. And like you said, she could have get it back here. But you know how it is. The mug is a pothead. That's what you do. Thank God I don't smoke anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's been over
I'm
over
glad you
50
said
years.
that. You
Let
know,
me
there's
make
a
that
lot
disclaimer.
of people look up to you. Huh?
Let me make that disclaimer. I mean, they should look down to if I did smoke, because right now, all the laws they make marijuana
Hey,
and hash legal. But Juan, if
I'm
she
trying to
broke
start a
the law,
business. Full disclaimer.
yeah, well, if the FBI
Multi-millionaire.
listen to this, that's Juan talking. I ain't trying to start nothing.
You already told her yourself. So.
Yeah, but that's past. I told you, I
Well,
gave disclaimer.
we
I don't
both
do that no
agree.
more.
Brittany Griner. We
She'll
want
come
her.
home.
I'd like for her to come home.
I like for really.
And I think if she broke the law, I hope they can work it out and still get her home.
Quick, because we got 4 minutes before we hit the mark. Right quick, then, Juan. So that brings us to the other conversation issue where her wife is saying if she was making comparable salary with the NBA, which they don't even bring nowhere close to fans, the TV revenue, that she wouldn't have went over there. So, Juan, let's talk about that, because a lot of sports are now bringing up parity in salaries between men and women. One to be talking about is tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Another one they're trying to do it in golf. I heard they actually are doing it in soccer.
Yes.
But I don't see the WNBA doing that, one, because the Mystics moved out of Capital One Arena, 20,000 seat, to Entertainment Center, where St. Elizabeth should be, that holds 5,000. You know why they moved it?
Build
because
another arena for them.
Right. They couldn't pack the arena. So how can you say they should get comparable salaries when they're not bringing in the same revenues?
Well, now, it's not only arena money, it's television money too, Bob. That's what really pays for NFL, golf.
If people are not watching physically going to a game, they ain't watching on TV.
Right. Well, fair enough. But let's be clear. What pays for most professional sports, Bob?
It's television. Right.
Golf is television. NCAA, whatever you want to say, it's made people rich. So I'm just saying that's what pays for. If television
Captain Obvious, we know that, but what's your point?
So the point is, it's not just about arena thing. I think that I think that the team would have, the organization or the sports league that would have the toughest time getting comparable pay would probably be the WNBA. But we're saying that, and I think I've said it to you before, women's pay is rising, and
true.
I believe that if there will be comparable pay in the future.
Won't be WNBA, buddy.
And there lies Bob and Juan, folks. You know, that's how we do. Hey, but I'm rooting for the ladies. I'm rooting for the ladies' league.
Oh yeah, me too. But we got to be realistic here, too.
But Bob, you know what I really enjoyed this past year? What I had not been as much this past year is the college basketball.
Yeah.
The women's college basketball. Man, that was a great finals. I really got into their finals and the last 4 games. Man, they were hooping. They were hooping. So they were. You know,
hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I'm pulling for them, but I just don't think the numbers are there. Being realistic, it is a business. But, I would love for it to be, equal pay. But
I think it really comes down to ratings in television.
The ratings are there, Juan. You look them up. They don't have the ratings. It's no.
Okay.
That's why they're not on TV as much.
That's what keeps them on there.
Yeah. But anyway, that's it. Juan, we hit that hour mark. It's a pleasure, man. Juan, we hit a lot. We hit a lot of
things. Man. There's a lot going on. A lot that happens in a month around here, boy. Good gracious, man.
I know. So just remember, you all, we here every Sunday. Not every Sunday. Every month, the first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. On Point Opinions, Bobby Kinzer,
Juan Holcomb,
And we thank you, Milana, for being out there, and all the other people around the world that's watching us. And we love it. We really appreciate y'all. And remember, you continue to actually click on that button still when we go off, because that traction helps expand our audience on Facebook. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And we really thank you all. And we'll be here next month, Juan. And
technical question, Bob. Technical question.
Technical question. Yes, sir.
Can people hit like when they go back and look at it? A lot of people also go back and look at the shows too.
Yes, I'm sure you can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And our next show, actually, it's the 4th of July weekend, Juan. It's going to be July the 3rd.
July the 3rd.
Put that on your calendars at 6 p.m., July 3rd. I know a lot of y'all are going to be on your vacations and 4th of July weekend. But hey, you can still tune into us because we're virtual. We go wherever you go.
And we'll make it very festive. We'll give a little fireworks for you.
And we will remember, our motto is knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And get out there and do your thing. Vote.
Gotta
vote.
Let us
know what's going out. Gotta vote.
Gotta vote.
Gotta do it. We got to get this thing back on the right track.
And remember, you all,
he's vested. He's got young people. Yeah. We have children. We have grandchildren. We want it. That's right.
When you said I was vested, I thought you meant I'm strapped. Yeah, I'm letting y'all know. You crazy mugs, remember that. But Juan, the other thing is, it's all about a conversation, you all. Have that conversation, because a lot of people are confused with all this information out there. And that's all we're trying to do, give you some good information. And it starts with a conversation, you all. Not an argument, not a debate, but a discussion.
Yeah.
Use the facts. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Absolutely.
Peace.
Peace.